What will be the main plot of the fourth chapter of Poppy Playtime? Who will be allies and who will be enemies in the end? Poppy Playtime Chapter 4 is just a short time away from release, and yesterday we saw the latest trailer. In this video, I'll answer all your questions about the new fourth chapter and tell you all the things you might have missed. Before the release of the new trailer, Mob Entertainment posted a curious note on their Twitter account with early screenshots of Poppy Playtime Chapter 4. These screenshots are notable because they show us a finished version of moments from the new chapter on the game engine. In this video, we'll break down what we see in these screenshots and what features of Poppy Playtime Chapter 4 we could foresee. In the first screenshot, we see Yarnaby. He is clearly running towards the player. However, it is not clear for what purpose. It's far from certain that this creature is hostile to its surroundings. Yarnaby is very fast and strong, but in the new trailer, I didn't find any information that would let us know that Yarnaby's goal is our death. I don't think Dr. Harley Sawyer wants to kill us. He wants to play with us so that he can capture us at the end for a purpose that is not yet clear. We can find most of our information about him from a document that can be found in Chapter 4 of the Ice Pick ARG. It says that Yarnaby carried the codename 1166. The subject for Experiment 1166 was a shy orphan named Quinn Navidson. From these same documents, we learn that Quinn Navidson was a shy and possibly troubled child. He purposely held back his abilities when taking various tests, including the game station. However, after talking to Harley Sawyer, Quinn Navidson promised to do better. Orphan was considered strange because of a story about Quinn Navidson ripping off the heads of toys and screwing the heads of other toys onto their bodies, which he thought was very beautiful. Like I said, Quinn Navidson kept his abilities in check so that those around him wouldn't expect too much from him. However, Harley Sawyer convinced him that he saw another, better part of Quinn Navidson's personality. Convinced Quinn Navidson that he could do the game station tasks much better. And Quinn Navidson did, whereupon he was transformed into Yarnaby for a purpose as yet unknown to us. Yarnaby is notable for his loyalty to certain members of the security staff and to Harley Sawyer personally. Though after being turned into Yarnaby, Quinn Navidson's cognitive abilities remain at a low level. However, Harley Sawyer was not embarrassed by this and was even amused. Yarnaby only interacted with Harley Sawyer most of the time and probably saw him as a father figure, especially considering the fact that Harley Sawyer supported him and tried his best to unlock his physical and cognitive abilities. Again, it is still unclear what Harley Sawyer's purpose was in conducting these experiments and why he had so much faith in Quinn Navidson's abilities. Especially given the fact that Harley Sawyer did not require anything of Quinn Navidson that any other test subject could not. Nothing extraordinary was required. We saw in the trailer that we'll have to cross paths with and hide from Yarnaby frequently in Chapter 4. Most likely, after his transformation into a monster, Harley Sawyer immediately reconnected with Yarnaby and arranged an escape for him. This opportunity was seized by all the other failed experiments who were imprisoned. Thus, all the failed experiments on the lower levels came under the control of Harley Sawyer. Pianosaurus seems to be among them, by the way. Let's go back to Yarnaby. Yarnaby was not characterized by hostility to staff or other toys from the beginning. Harley Sawyer was fine with that, as it needed Yarnaby exactly as he was. For what purpose is unknown. From all the known information and what I have stated earlier, we can conclude that perhaps Yarnaby would not be hostile to the player. However, Harley Sawyer's behavior is unpredictable, and Yarnaby will probably be loyal to him. We will find out for sure very soon. What can we say about the location in the first screenshot? We know from Poppy Playtime Chapter 3 that at the end of the chapter we go down on a huge platform. Surely down there are facilities for disposing of toy parts, production waste, and infrastructure to provide the factory with all the power. Interesting. Also, the new trailer makes us realize that there was a kind of prison on this level. This is where all the failed experiments were kept. On the right, we see three squares, red, blue, and yellow, enclosed in each other. What does this symbol mean? Also in the first screenshot, we see a bright blue wire leading to some kind of switch and possibly going through a spotlight. Who knows, maybe a separate arm for light manipulation awaits us. Two arguments might point to this. The first argument is that, in any case, a new arm has been waiting for us in each previous chapter in each chapter. In Chapter 1, it was the blue arm and the red arm. In Chapter 2, it was the green arm, and in Chapter 3, it was the purple arm and the orange arm. Taking into account the general level of light in the screenshots, we can conclude that the locations in Poppy Playtime Chapter 4 will be very dark and gloomy indeed. None of the locations from the screenshots have drawings on the walls, and in general, the locations are not decorated or prepared for visitors, which is natural. Will we go lower and lower with each chapter? What other characters are waiting for us in Chapter 4? We will find out very soon. Here is the next screenshot. In it, we see large open spaces, more decorated with bright colored walls and toys. The factory space is internal, inaccessible to the average guest or orphaned child that lives in the local orphanage, at least living until his transformation. However, we see spotlights illuminating a large playground where we see a basketball hoop and markings for games. Who played these games, and why is the space around the playground not decorated if it was used by children? Or maybe this is just another test of ability in different areas for the already transformed children. We also see numbers on the walls of the floodlight towers. The tower on the left is 32, and the tower on the right is 3. It's probably an erased inscription of the number 4. What these numbers mean, we do not know yet. We also see that the area for basketball, and possibly other games, is fenced off with key wire. What could this possibly mean? Perhaps children really could have played here, but after their transformation. Inside the blue tower at number 34, we see an electrical panel and possibly a blackboard with inscriptions. If the play area, fenced off by barbed wire, was really used for experiments, Playtime Co.'s employees could make notes or keep tables on such a board. In the third screenshot, we see a puzzle with green electric batteries, and Yarnaby looking at the player from outside the room, apparently behind protective glass. It looks like we'll have to get our green hand back to solve this puzzle. There are 4 wires coming from the electrical panel: green, yellow, red, and blue. Do they mean different outcomes when solving the puzzle? What is the player trying to accomplish by solving this puzzle? After recalling information about what Yarnaby is all about, I can offer a few theories. The first is that the player may be trying to possibly save Yarnaby. Yarnaby has not been hostile to staff or other toys in the past, as we know from documents from the Chapter 4 Ice Pick ARG game. However, he is now willing to do whatever Harley Sawyer orders him to do. In that case, we can save ourselves from Yarnaby. And yet what is not clear is the information about who our character is in essence, the player himself. What character are we playing as? In the previous chapter of the series, in the 3rd chapter, we met the caption that our character returned to the factory because of guilt. So we're playing as a character who is already, at the very least, not a researcher or detective from the outside. What if Yarnaby knew the character we are playing as? In that case, Yarnaby could become our sidekick. How would the prototype and Harley Sawyer feel about this turn of events if the theory turns out to be true? What if Yarnaby wants to help us, despite his loyalty to the prototype, and we solve a puzzle with green electric batteries and colorful wires to get Yarnaby out of captivity? And maybe if we get the wires mixed up, Yarnaby falls into the clutches of the prototype. I think Yarnaby would be an interesting addition to our team, which already includes Poppy and Kissy Missy. Poppy would be able to take care of him, I'm sure. In any case, Yarnaby is given a lot of attention in the screenshots. However, it is believed that we will soon meet Harley Sawyer, or at least lift the veil of mystery around him, which means the prototype is also nearby. As we know, the prototype is working together with Harley Sawyer, but their ideas are very different. This makes the social component in the toy community heterogeneous, which is already very interesting. Usually in games like this, there are 2 sides, the toys and the player. Here, the different toys oppose each other or are enslaved to each other. Some work as a team, like Poppy and Kissy Missy. We could see something similar in the Outlast series of games, where psychiatrists who conducted experiments on patients were opposed by the patients themselves. However, they were also divided into groups and feuded with each other too. The interweaving of interpersonal relations into the behavior of toys gives us a large space for thinking and building the wildest and most cinematic theories. The scripts that are written for games these days often rise to the level of a big movie and are often in no way inferior to that movie. Personally, after seeing screenshots like these and analyzing the information on what they depict, I expect to see a lot of drama in Poppy Playtime Chapter 4. The confrontation between Harley Sawyer and the prototype looks like a very interesting storyline to me. After all, maybe very soon we'll learn about Harley Sawyer's real motives and why he's ultimately conducting his experiments. Maybe we'll learn about who the prototype was before his transformation and why he has such high intellectual capacity. But if we're talking specifically about Poppy Playtime Chapter 4, here, the developers are clearly hinting to us that Yarnaby will have no small part in the narrative. Perhaps it is through Yarnaby's interaction with the player that we will be shown the storyline about other toys, about Poppy, about the prototype, and others. What are your thoughts on this? What happened to Poppy and Kissy Missy? What does Harley Sawyer want to do to us? Write your theories in the comments, and I'll be sure to read them. Also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Good luck, everyone, and bye-bye.